How's it going, everyone? I'm running the rig this week. Everything is terrible, but Fern is here.
Yes, for reasons.
And Fern just got way louder all of a sudden.
He may be here, but a certain portion of his technology appears not to be.
Yeah, my ISPs decide they're going to ruin everything and not give us any information. You go to the website and it says, yes, there's a problem. We're not going to tell you what it is. We're not going to tell you when it's fixed. We're just going to say, yes, there's a problem.
Are we going to have to dynamically reduce Fern's levels because it sounds like Fern
Oh,
just started
yeah.
projecting?
Yeah, I am
Yeah,
dropping
yeah.
him a good several percent, and we're just gonna have to earball it.
He's
Well-
not used to participating in the
I'm used to driving this stupid thing. It's actually nice. I can sit back and relax, and it's someone else's problem.
Yeah. So,
It's
right.
nice.
Oh, right. I was making Vol feel inadequate.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is gonna be a week for the boober, isn't it?
Well, no, it can be if you want me to, but
I'm gonna be talking about Pinecone. Yes, it is.
I'm stressing seasonally, that's all.
I don't. My only seasonal outfit is
That one.
not exactly useful for the show.
It doesn't really bring the cheesecake, TBH.
I mean,
No.
and this is so last season. I don't think this will work.
It is literally last season.
Yes, that was the joke. So I guess we'll just stick with this one. Don't worry, we'll have
All right.
plenty of time in break rooms, I'm sure. So I'm not actually party leader, so I can't start this mess. We're just
All
going.
right, I'm going to make you party leader because I don't know how these whatchamacallits menus work. I know they're going for the retro look and all that, but I just don't understand them.
Yeah. So
I'm-
yeah, this has been a disaster already.
So I'm starting us at floor 51, so Fern can get max EXP.
Yep.
We were going to do Heaven on High, but Fern is not level 61 yet. So
I haven't had time to do a life.
So we're going to drag him through and get EXP during the show, whether he likes it or not.
Well, you are going to drag us through because I am playing an astrologian, meaning I have nothing to contribute.
So yes, make sure YouTube's running,
Yeah.
and I can close that.
To be fair, the level like 59 to 60 leveling section is a really tedious drag. It's just yeah, kind of the
I personally find the 60 to 70 to be the hardest.
ugh.
And once
Although I do still have a lot of content there I haven't even touched, so I could probably still go fairly quick on that.
once I hit 71, or once you hit 71 on anything, it's all home free if you just want to bosh it.
I don't really want to do that because I just keep running up against the frustration that, oh yeah, number one, can't get clusters to save myself. It just doesn't happen. Like last time I went to Bosnia, I was there for like 4 hours and got one cluster.
Yeah.
And I just have that quest thing pinging me in the corner of my eye the entire time. Go do Regina de Lubrum. Go do Regina de Lubrum. Go do Regina de Lubrum. And I can't do it because I don't know what the hell is going on in there.
So when you go to do that place, I'll give you a tip. Do not bring any survivability whatsoever. Not even the tank.
That sounds counterintuitive.
Because you will have the echo in that place, and you will be able to absolutely kick it over if everybody there brings their DPS stuff, you plus whoever queues up with you. And you will not die from damage. The way that place works, any mechanic that hits you puts a debuff on you that lasts 2 minutes. And if you get hit by any other avoidable mechanic, you get a doom effect, and you're just dead.
But isn't that the trap clearing dungeon?
Oh, all you do is send the tank ahead with super blight or whatever their invulnerability is on.
Yeah, what happens if you don't have a tank?
Then you send somebody ahead and you keep resin them as they die over and over again.
Send someone you don't like.
Hey, we found one by accident. Yeah, you just send somebody
Okay.
ahead and just keep resin them.
Oh, was that lag on my end, or was that Ari just exploding?
I think that was lag on your end because you're not roboting to me.
I didn't hear any explosion.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, my internet is unstable, let's just say.
At any rate, we had no excuses. We had to bring you the latest news and commentary on the video games industry for the week. And if you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in the Discord server, which should be able to be accessed by clicking on the link supplied in the show description underneath the show archive on YouTube.
All right, we had a stick.
Breathe!
I forgot about the stick.
I'm going this way. Yeah, I'm going this way, by the way. Just reasons.
Oh, I found the exit.
Oh, already? Okay. I'm gonna kill this monkey. Alright, so I guess we'll dive into weeks, and yeah, my week, yeah, it's been another crazy one.
Do you ever not have crazy ones?
It seems no. I think if we ever get a week where nothing goes explode or really strange or whatever, we won't know what to do ourselves.
Well, there are only two types of weeks. There are weeks where you get accused of stealing someone's gold, and weeks where you don't.
Yeah.
All right.
Did that open? Yes,
Yeah,
it did.
we're open. The fastest way to get from these levels will be just to move on as fast as possible.
Yeah. Sadly, the saga of Karen's gold is over. I think the Karen in question has left town, but
Got arrested.
because she couldn't go anywhere without anybody laughing. Actually, I think so. Yeah. But, yeah, we've been dealing with the outcome of a car crash, so that's been fun.
Was it your fault?
Hey, don't drink and no, do not drink and drive, kids.
Were
Even
you?
if Octal tells you to.
That
Especially.
will remain
Wait, what?
the dumbest thing that boy has ever said.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, on Octale and Hordak, Octale recommended the viewers drink and drive.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was like,
right, yeah.
He doesn't believe that intoxication affects your driving, just your base level of driving skill, and that people who have accidents while intoxicated would have had them if they were not intoxicated.
Yeah, no.
I don't know how an otherwise mostly sane person comes to that conclusion, but
Everyone has their own weird little blind spots, I guess.
It was.
it's a very strange blind spot. Has he never had an alcoholic beverage before?
Like, I don't trust myself to walk down the stairs if I've had too many. Do you want me to operate a car?
Stairs are very, very dangerous to young people. As are hills.
I have literally fallen over while using the toilet before because I had too much to drink. I was just standing, and then I suddenly wasn't standing anymore.
Did we stop on alluring? Yeah, we did.
We did. Not that I can see anything because my game's lagging. Oh, this is going to be an experience.
That's okay.
So I tried
If you die, we'll just find a way to pick you back up later.
the I know I'm trying to tank these things. I have no idea if they're still here or not.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I can tank them. I will put the sustaining potions on the bar just for you, Fern.
Yay.
And
So anyway, so this is what happens when your ISP just doesn't care. Oh, whoop, we got a jar?
You didn't.
We do.
You didn't finish the job. You just moved on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, anyway, my week is I caved, I guess.
Yeah,
And
considering
I
how
tried out Pinecone.
considering how stridently you were advised not to, I don't know why you then folded anyway.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I just hate myself or something. I don't know. But it doesn't do anything particularly new, honestly, as far as these sorts of gacha games go.
Well, it's an
But
auto battler.
it's an auto battler. I mean, you know exactly what you're getting in for with one of those. But it does it with a very high degree of polish, which I was actually very impressed when it went from cutscene to dialogue to cutscene again, pretty much seamlessly at the start of the game. So you've got your full animated cutscenes including one in Chapter 2, which has a very strange camera angle, which is designed specifically to show face and boobs and nothing else.
I mean, they know their audience.
Yeah,
They know their audience.
there is literally only one male character in the roster, and male is being used in a flexible sense here.
Yes. It's an Astolfo situation going on here.
That there were people taking screenshots of the crotch and thoroughly examining it on all the social medias to try and convince themselves that there was no men in the cast. When they
Wants to be the prettiest girl. So yeah, I did my. Is Discord exploding now?
no,
No,
just
it's just you.
just keep talking. You're coming in.
Okay, yeah.
Your upstream is fine.
Like everything is exploding.
Like your ability
Right.
to interact with us shows that you are clearly lagging severely. However, on our end, you still sound normal.
Yeah, so just keep speaking.
All right. Anyway, so I did my starting gotchas, and the game gave me a bad pull for the very first free 3-pull it gives you.
You got
Like
Anna.
when you start the game, it gives you just. I got Anna. I got the local toonie.
Oh, that's a real harsh pull.
At first, I thought he said he got
Yeah.
Ann. I'm like, oh, well, there's worse pulls for your first free pull. That's good. Oh, Anna. Oh no.
No.
I
the
don't think
toonie.
there's actually a worse one.
Yeah,
Is there?
that might be the worst pull you could have got.
Like
Yeah.
that's basically a dud pull. Like just getting a different 2-star or 1-star instead would be better.
Susume would be better.
Yeah. I need to actually grab my game.
Does
and
Anna have
look
a
up
6-star
who I
yet?
actually.
I don't know.
Like I don't know what they could do to fix her. Is the thing.
Well, her whole gimmick is she commits Sudoku.
She explodes.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Yes.
basically
Oh, right,
when she hits
she
10%,
explodes
she just explodes.
All right, let me load up Pinecone. I will tell you what I got out of the pools because I went fairly hard just so I could get up enough gems so I could hit the start and newbie roulette a couple of times before it went away. And the first one I got no 3 stars out of, which was sad. But then the second and third I got 1, and then the fourth one later on I got 2 out of that.
We'll do this.
Oh wait, we're doing this again.
It's okay. We gotta wait on
Where's
loading.
the?
No, it won't work.
Yeah.
Don't. Just get in the
Eh.
hole.
Get in the hole.
So you got
right.
who'd you get?
Oh, right.
Right, you got a good pull.
I'm
At
actually
least
trying
one
to load
good
the
pull.
game up, but I got one good pull. Hang on, let me see. Now the game seems to be working. I'll go into my roster. So the big good pull I got was May May.
You got Murder Hobo.
I got the Murder Hobo, May May.
Nobody can say her name. Just,
Mooey me, mooey me.
Muimi. Muimi? May May. Murder Hobo. So yeah, she's basically been carrying me up until this point because she does
And will
a lot of
continue to do
damage.
so. She is still carrying me.
yeah, she's still like the first or second place damage dealer on whatever clan battle team I stick her on. Like
She would still be.
Yeah.
She would still be first place if Nenica didn't exist.
Yeah, she's just a fun character. She does a lot of damage, and then you use her Union Burst, and then she does a lot more on top of that.
Just that every one of her attacks becomes a Union Burst.
Yes,
like
so she just start making a mess.
yeah, and she comes built in with defense down, so you can live without Makoto for a little bit.
Yep. Who else have I got here? There's Anna as my 3 stars.
Don't even
I'm
bother
just going down
leveling
the
her up.
list.
Just leave her alone.
Yeah, I've left mine alone.
Yep.
It's just still sitting there. I think I leveled her up to
She's
like
just-
level 3 or something.
She's just that bad.
Yes.
I hope they don't fix her, honestly, because I just love the idea of a Chuny being absolutely useless.
I mean, there might be some gimmick build you could use her in
Yeah, probably.
if you build
All right,
entirely around her.
got Ilya.
Oh, you got
Ilya is
So Ilya is in
unfortunately, I would argue Ilya's also useless. Like
She's casting hit
until
points.
I would argue she's useless because what you get out of her is so far behind what you can get out of other characters. Unless you can get her to 5-star, because the odds are very much in favor of her dying before accomplishing anything. Like, I don't think that. Well, while Ari argued back when I started that she would have at least some use, the reality is that most of his experience using her was in a meta that didn't include Muimi and didn't include Nenika. And I never experienced that meta. What I experienced was the fact that if you include Ilya in anything, she will die immediately. In like one shot, because
By her own hand, I believe.
she'll hit herself and then the opponent will hit her and then she has no HP left. So there's not really any point in using her, to be totally honest. I got a tiny bit of use out of her at the very, very start. But as far as things go now, you'd be better off building up Carol than building up Ilya at this point, because at least Carol will be able to move into 6-star eventually.
Well, Carol can already. Oh yeah, she's got her 6-star, and her 6-star is
it'll be
really good.
eventual for Fern. It'll be eventual for Fern. It's not. I'm not saying eventually as far as the game is concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, Fern's not going to have 6-star Carol tomorrow.
Get on that, Fern.
No. Next character. Next one I pulled is Hatsune.
Niche PvP uses, some Tower Luna uses, not really.
For general progression, I think that she's at least reasonably solid if you've got something to back her up with, like Akari or something.
Yeah.
Like she's usable, because when you're starting out, what you're looking for is usability, not optimal.
Yeah, but she'll get you.
But you're going to be wanting to use Muimi and support Muimi instead. That's the thing.
Yeah, you will eventually come to the magic wall block, and having Hatsune in your toolkit will be nice. I used Hatsune when I hit that wall.
Yeah, when you need to flush lots of golems away.
Specifically
in those doors.
I think I had.
Yeah.
I had a couple more one more 3-star, but I can't seem to find her.
You said you got Ninon.
I got Nina, yeah.
Yeah, you got the Toonie, you got the Weeb, you got the Hobo.
Yeah, I'm getting all the mean ones.
Did you get Kuka? Uh-oh.
Why have you done
No,
this?
I didn't get the meme one.
Do you at least have a tank?
He got
I
Pudding.
do. I got Puddin.
Well, Pudding's good. Especially early on, when there's not going to be any incoming magic damage to worry about.
Yeah, I've started to unlock bond events for the characters, and yeah, that girl, there's nothing else in her universe but Pudding.
No, she doesn't think about anything else. Ever.
It's just Pudding. That's it. That's her whole shtick.
Door's open, by the way.
Alright, it's shiny over here.
Oh, good. I can strong for the
we don't
boss.
need- Oh, we are at boss level. Okay.
Fern, turn your tank stance off
so my
for this
current-
boss.
Oh, yeah, okay, we'll do that.
Because I gotta kite him. Oh no, wait, you're okay for this one. This one's the knight, not the serpent. You're okay for this one. The next one, turn your
that's
tank.
better.
On this one, you're fine. The next one, turn your tank stance off because we gotta kite him.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't gotta kite
So
him.
my
but it makes
current
it easier.
lineup at the so I've only got one team set up at the moment, which is Muimi at the front, of course, with Miyako, the pudding girl.
Wait, Pudding's not in front of Murder Hobo? That should be
Shiori?
impossible. Pudding should be in front of Murder Hobo.
Yeah. Well, they're both front lines, so
Okay. You're just saying
the game just
generically.
figures it out from there.
Okay.
Generically in the front, yeah.
I'm just gonna pull the boss.
Yeah, Shiori in the middle and Misato at the back. So it's not perfect. It's a very kind of physical team, but Misato's not really a good
Physical will
healer.
do you fine for the start. Especially because Muimi has enough raw power to simply power through high defense things early on.
Oh yeah, she just burns everything. I forget how this guy works.
He kicks you.
Actually, he does. His horse. He kicks you with his horse. Yeah, but Misato, like, she's good. The booby nun is fine, but I'd rather a healer that does a physical buff rather than a magic one. just to match up with
That's
the team a bit better.
That's
only Maho, I think.
yeah, and Maho
Yeah.
isn't exactly your best option in that scenario. You're still better off running like Yukari plus a physical support.
Hmm.
Like you pulled Yukari, right?
Yes, I
Drunk.
did. I've got
Yukari
Yukari as
is
the,
like the best support in the game from now until eternity. Build Yukari, no
Yeah.
questions asked. There is
she's
not
drunk.
like 2.5 years ahead of us or whatever the Japan server is. Still doesn't have anybody better than Yukari as like an all-purpose support.
Yeah, if you don't
Yeah,
know what
I've got her in my slot, and she's still only 1 star.
yeah, if you don't know what to do with it, just build Yukari and use Yukari. And eventually
Yeah.
you'll unlock the dungeons, and it will not start off at first where dungeons are the easiest way to get coins, but very quickly, about a month or so after you've got them, dungeon coins are the easiest things to get character shards from.
I've had 1 crack at the dungeon already, and I cruised through it until I hit the boss, and then the game just slapped me down.
Oh yeah, the boss will just kick your butt for a long, long time
Yeah.
until you build up a roster that can whack him.
Oh, good grief! I've been put on the SMS list for work,
Oh no.
and I'm getting a call from the landlord. I have to take this.
Okay. Which is a shame because the only other really bit of nerdery I did this week was watch Fate Grand Carnival just on a random whim.
You should watch you should watch season 1 of the Pinecone anime. Now that
I
you're
might do
in,
that.
if you liked Konosuba, you'll like the Pinecone anime.
You have linked various random things from the Pinecone anime, and it looks just like complete nonsense.
Well, it looks like Konosuba because it's the Konosuba director.
Yeah,
Of course it looks silly. Ow.
it's very, very, very silly.
And it's
That chest just bites you.
yes. It's a very mean chest.
Yeah. I should
So-
take Sam back on.
So I actually am not as attached to Grand Carnival as I am to Carnival Phantasm.
Yeah.
I just don't like it as much in general.
Grand Carnival does rely a lot on in-jokes. Like, a lot of in-jokes.
Well, so did Carnival Phantasm, but it just felt like it hit better with Carnival Phantasm.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple really
Yeah.
good jokes in Grand Carnival, like Mash and her dad.
That scene, yo.
Mash's face makes it worth it.
Yeah, that face actually matches the viewer's face, which is actually quite impressive.
Also, Lancelot's voice when he comes out. Woo!
If you don't know what we're talking about there, you've
I would find a
You've just
picture of
gotta see
it, but I'm running the rig.
yeah. So yeah, they do. I like a few of the jokes in there. Like you've got the parody of the smiling or the grinning salesman with Moriarty.
Mm-hmm.
Except instead of giving people exactly what they want and then stealing their souls when they're unhappy about it, he just tends to put people in extremely awkward situations.
Just the Lancelot. Woo!
What are we
The
talking about?
Lancelot, woo!
Oh, I got a mimic.
Great Grand Carnival.
Oh right, yes.
Yeah, the Lancelot
The Lancelot.
shot. The Lancelot. Lancelot actually gets a fair bit of screen time in
He's
that first
just
episode in
trying to
various-
bond with his
but-
proxy daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo!
I don't know where the whole idea to dress up as a foo came from, though.
Oh, that's from a craft essence that's infamous for how Vol, give me a word.
It's a redrop craft essence.
Yeah.
The
It's
Halloween ones.
as close
Every year.
as close to softcore porn as you can get without crossing the line.
Every year redrop
Yeah.
will draw a CE for Halloween, and every year it is the cheesecake.
And this for the Fate Grand Carnival, they decided to stick Lancelot in that costume.
Because MASH was the one in that outfit originally on the craft essence.
I will
Yeah.
I can
I'd watched
find-
the half of the first episode before with the Olympics episode. So yeah, I hadn't actually seen the second half because they released the first half a bit ahead as a promo, I believe.
Oh, it's already open.
But I am relieved that Fate Grand Carnival's pro tag is Gudiko in all but terrible art.
I posted the redrop Halloween CEs in the live.
Yep, hang on, I'm bringing a bitey friend.
Oh crap! I don't have head grace anywhere near. There it is.
It's all right, I got it.
Oh, you left the strong back here after I saw it, and you didn't use it.
Oh yeah, get the stone. So yeah, that was a ride. The second episode was the Osaka versus. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on the name all of a sudden. I had it a moment ago.
Is Cleo wearing anything in that one?
Wearing bathwater.
In that one, I don't think she.
No, that she has a very, very small amount of lace that does not really appear to be much of what I would call an item of clothing.
It's more like an emphasizing accessory.
Yeah. So if you want to know what the whole Lancelot scene is you've got the top center one with Mash, except instead of Mash wearing that, it's a large burly man
Walking in on MASH.
walking in on Mash.
I'm sure she appreciated very much.
There's double strongs. Both of you can strong.
We can stong. So yeah, that was a fun ride. But yeah, the streaming wars in the second episode was oh boy. I do have a good appreciation for Sheepkun though.
Dumazid.
This how Dumazin, yeah. His whole
Doomsy.
presentation throughout the entire thing was just perfect. But you know, when you have two streamers who are competing to get the biggest audience and both of them are attractive women, you can kind of expect where this is going to go.
I felt it was surprisingly real for
Yeah.
for a Carnival Phantasm scenario. It was
Yeah.
surprisingly real.
Yeah. I'm surprised actually it was only Osaka who went over the edge. I was half expecting Arishka Gull to join her, but she didn't.
No. Her entire shtick is that she's unspeakably bashful. Whereas
Yeah.
Oki's just a shut-in. She's not really ashamed of anything other than her potential gaining weight.
Yeah.
Like she's the grand cipher of servant biology in that she is always concerned about gaining weight, but canonically servants can't gain weight. But somehow she is convinced that she has.
That actually raises several questions about not Nero, Caesar, but anyway. The second episode also has a slightly depressing documentary following Teach around. It's the life of a substandard servant.
Yeah. Justice for low-star servants.
Needs
Yeah.
to get a 6-star upgrade ASAP.
There's also a random shot at the start of that episode. I think something gets blown up, and even though he hasn't been in the that sequence at all, Teacher's corpse is just there. So yeah, there's a lot of little weird background events in it too, which I found fun. Usually at some point, Nobu goes zooming past. So yeah, it's worth watching especially if you know your FGO in jokes, or if you just appreciate complete ridiculousness.
Or you also have a level 100 red hair.
I mean, he is the he is the best boy.
He's such a terrible servant, though.
He is a crap servant, but he is also Lubu,
Also, he will tell you.
so he will tell you. I just love the very first main joke they go to is immediately kill off Cuchulainn. All of
Well,
him.
it's still fate. Some things have to be done.
Some things just have to be done. Anyway, that's basically been my week. It's been a ride. Hopefully things will start settling down a little bit soon, but
I found it by
I
accident
think we got-
again.
stop. Why all the biting? Anywho, so that's basically been me. So, Vol, what you been doing?
Not a huge amount. It wasn't an incredibly brutal week this week, so I was able to go home on time and get a bit of FF play done. So I feel like I made really solid progress on my leveling project this time round. Namely, I've gotten all of my lowest level strength DPS is now level 81. So they're all in range of using those incredibly lucrative Beast Tribe quests in Endwalker. It's probably the single most lucrative set of quests in the game as far as EXP is concerned. What else? So yeah, I'm currently playing in this Palace of the Dead playing Astrologian, which is my lowest level character at lowest level job at 59. So my project has been to get this week was to get all of my DPS to 61, so they all heaven on high compatible. And then once I get this Astrologian to 61, it will be everything except Blue Mages at 61. I'm really not that concerned about Blue Mage. But
Blue Mages is kind of its own thing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's basically that's what I've been spending my time on in FF has been advancing that project. I did go out to Bosnia briefly as a sort of change of pace. I don't remember what I was doing there exactly. I don't even remember what I was playing, but I sort of accidentally signed up for Castrum Lacus Latore, which I hadn't done before. I didn't realize I was signing up for it because I was just clicking, and I was very tired and just clicking. So I ended up doing that. I did warn everybody that I had never been there before and didn't know anything that was going to happen there. But I managed to not embarrass myself too much. I think I only died once, and that was because of a mechanic overlap for two mechanics that I didn't realize were going to happen.
On the second boss were the colors.
Yeah, I think it was actually. It was Earthquake overlapping with Pyretic.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that it was doing overlaps at that stage.
Yeah.
I didn't get killed by the Pyretic except when it overlapped with the Earth one.
Yeah. You survived Dawson without having him and Lion without
Even if you say that, I don't know who you're talking about.
the last boss.
I didn't have any trouble with the last boss. Last boss was fine.
Were you on the team that had to go fight Lion?
Yeah.
Okay. Lion's actually easier than having to fight Dawson with the ads at the bottom, but
It wasn't a team. There was no team. Is it like people would just go and click on the thing until there were enough people who clicked on the thing. There were no arrangement took place beforehand. The only time anybody discussed who was going where was at the start to determine who was going top, who was going bottom, and then who was going which direction once we tried to free the dudes from the cells.
Oh, I hate leading Lacus Latore groups. I will not start a Lacus Latore group. I'll make Abo do it because of that stupid hallway. And people just don't listen. And it drives me up the wall. Doors open, by the way.
As far as I could tell, everybody seemed to be quite happily doing what they were supposed to, and we didn't have any difficulties. everything just went quite swimmingly. I think we had 15 people.
That's a pretty good number for Lacus.
Can you do it with like a queue with like 2 or 3 people? Like, do you get a humongous echo or anything?
The echo caps out as though your lowest number was 8, but you can
Right.
do it with about 6 or 7.
Right.
You could probably do it with less. You'd just be there for a long time and be running up against the timer.
At any rate, I felt like it was a quite an enjoyable experience. Like I had a good time and the people were friendly. It would have been nice to do it. It seems like it would have been nice to do it when there were more people around, but I expect that the scenario now is probably just as good because the people that were there were not in a hurry, in a sense. Like they were relatively relaxed about what was going on, and they knew what they were doing and where they were going to go to do it, and they understood that there are going to be people around that don't really understand. So, like, I guess they were more laid back than they would have been at peak time when everybody was running it, and they would have been screaming at people to do the optimal thing, as opposed to now where, well, it's just a fact of life that you're going to have a small group and there's going to be a couple people who are clueless.
Yeah, that is
But,
that is the polar opposite experience of most of my Lacus Latores. Dalradias are fine. I can do Dalradias all day, and the groups are genuinely nice people. But Lacus Latore, I have not had good experiences with.
Like, what happens then? Because I fail to see how you can even have a problem there. Everything went so smoothly.
Usually, it's poor communication is what happens. We stepped on a learning trap, by the way.
Another one?
Yeah, they're coming. And usually poor communication happens at the start, right before Lion, when you have a low number of people, or at the freaking hallways, and nobody knows what direction to go, and everybody in my group, whenever I'm calling a direction, doesn't go the direction I called, or inevitably, despite calling that direction in shout chat so everybody can say it, another group just decides they're going to go that direction, and when you pivot your group because some other group's already going the way you said you're going to go, your group doesn't listen and continues to go down the wrong direction.
You sound like you're getting increasingly hysterical as you recall the situation.
And then all of a sudden, you have the one guy in your group bitching at you because one hallway was now empty because you told the group to pivot and he didn't, and he went with the blob of people that wasn't even in your group. I hate this place.
I had a great time. It was fantastic. Everybody went exactly where they said they would go.
This has not been my experience at all in Lacus Latore, and I refuse to lead a group into Lacus Latore.
Yeah, we just had a very straightforward thing. There was no leader. Everybody said in chat, I'll go west through north or east through south or whatever. And you just had a few people said, okay, I'll go. And then they would run off and people would basically, they'd take turns following one of them until we had roughly even groups. And none of this was done with discussion. It all happened automatically. Like, I could hardly imagine a more clockwork experience. Like, everything went perfectly.
It's just nice when everyone's on the same wavelength.
Well, I wasn't on anybody's wavelength. I still didn't have any trouble.
Yeah. I mean,
But
that's something that just does not happen in MMOs.
I didn't have any of these problems that Ari is
Now-
clearly suffering from PTSD over.
Usually when I go into Lacus Latore, it was because I was doing it at Primetime US, so our group sizes were 20-something plus, so division of people was more important, because it takes more people to clear each individual one, and you need to actually split the groups. With less people, the echo's powerful enough to let you still get, 4 or 5 rescues, and without too much trouble. But if you
I
don't...
didn't really even understand what the deal was with the rescue mechanic because everything went so smoothly.
Basically, there's 3 doors in each hallway, and randomly in each one will have a prisoner about to be executed, one will have a boss and a pad, and one will have nothing in it. And you can ignore the one with nothing in it. You need to find the one with the dude being executed first and save him, and that gets you a bonus treasure chest at the end of the section for every one you save.
Oh, so that's why there were like 7 treasure chests there at the end.
Yeah,
of that section.
Because you managed to save everybody. And then there's the one with the boss in it, that after you've saved all the prisoners, you go back, you kill the bosses, and you have somebody stand or tap the panel after the boss has died that becomes active, and that opens the door. Or you can do it on the way if you properly have split the groups and save some time, but it's up to your group and how smoothly things are going. Things, in my experience, don't go that smooth. And usually, as soon as you save your dude, you gotta turn around and run down another hallway because you realize nobody's gone east.
Now, like, I think I saw the inside of only half the rooms because we cleared everything at the same time. I think that we left the pad one though. Like we cleared every room except the pad one, and we went back to the pad one afterwards.
Yeah, that's standard procedure. Okay, Fern, turn your tank stance off.
Yep.
I'm popping strong.
Oops, that was the wrong button.
That's living dead.
It's strong.
I'm popping steel.
Yeah, that's living dead. That is not grit.
That is not how you. Are you gonna die?
No.
No.
Okay. I just want to check. It's like, he didn't just sign his death warrant, did he?
Yeah, it would have been pretty funny if I just fell over at that point, but yeah.
Okay, I should be able to take it from here. Just kill the boss and don't say any crap.
I'm sure I did take this boss before, but I can't honestly remember.
Oh, you could tank him if you weren't lagging, but if you're lagging him, you get him stuck in a douse and he gets 300% attack speed. I don't want to have to explain to Vol why your health suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I was going to chase him around like some filthy monk.
I was like, oh, why don't I ever have to pop sustaining? Oh, right, I got a healer.
Yeah. My tank light is off and it's bothering me.
That's fine. We're almost done.
Still bothering.
Okay,
He's dead.
You can push it now.
I can turn it back on again.
Yeah, he's not that scary of a boss, but just in case.
Just in case, yeah. The last thing you want is for me to lag and everything explodes.
I don't want to give the boss a stacking attack speed buff.
So
Let's not
it
do
got
that.
really bad this morning actually because I was doing the command actions with the Grand Company.
Why?
Because I haven't finished it yet, and I wanted something that I would not cause problems for other people in. Also, I still unlock that last rank, which I should be just on the verge of doing.
Got 3 achievements.
Oh, nice. Let's go murder Harambe.
Harambe.
Actually, I think Harambe shows up on 63 to 66, but still, we're on the floor where there are animals.
Ripping pepperoni, Harambe.
But the second boss of Stone Vigil particularly is I desynced right at the start of that fight. I kept fighting until the game kicked me out, but in case the commands were getting through, so I logged back in and the boss was just dead. And that was it.
You trusted
I saw
it without
absolutely
you?
nothing of that fight. What's that?
You trusted it without you?
Pretty much.
Or not your trust, but your command mission squadron?
The command mission squadron are like a trust, except
Dumb as bricks.
dumb as bricks. They've given up on
They're
trying
also
to,
basically indestructible unless they do something idiotic, though.
Yeah, well, they've given up, I think, on the AI because a lot of the mechanics, like you're supposed to move out of this thing, they're just standing there.
Well, they're just replacing it with trust AI.
Yeah, except worse.
Yeah, like it's functionally a defunct feature. I don't think that they have any intention of doing anything with it in its current form.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Something
literally
wrong.
replacing it with trust.
Yeah.
Well, it's not replacement if it's still there. But yeah, it's still like you can still use it for stuff, especially if you can't do a trust in a particular dungeon or whatever.
There's still a few things you get out of it. Like you get, I think it's the Grand Company coffers once you get that last promotion. And you need to go through that system in order to get that.
Yeah. I still use it. I use it to get whatchamacallit, squadron battle manuals.
Mm-hmm.
which is the 15% EXP from battle bonus.
Yep.
That's basically all I use it for.
Actually, I need to refresh my food buff.
Food buff?
All
I haven't
right.
had a food buff on.
Because XP. Actually, I'm not sure if that
Does it
applies
affect
until
it?
we get out.
Because
don't know.
it's sort of like a quest reward essentially.
Yeah, I don't know.
The potage.
We can't spront. No spronting. That's what Peloton's for.
Now you
Right,
can,
what was I talking about?
now you can sprint.
What were we talking about? Fern's week.
Your week.
My week. Oh right, we're in my week. Okay, so yeah. The rerun of the Christmas event was happening in FGO, and I have basically been a non-participant, which is sort of what I wanted, really. It's just a rerun after all, so the lotto boxes are capped.
Fucking Anzus.
I'm stunned.
Fucking
I'm
Anzus.
stunned. I'm super stunned.
Okay, we're good.
Giving me PTSD.
But yeah, so I've basically been a non-participant, but it's fine since lotto boxes are kept at 10. I haven't got around to doing the challenge quest yet. People have been posting a lot of I can't remember what the challenge quest mechanic is, but people have been posting a lot of weird comps doing it, so it probably isn't that hard. Or at least I hope not. But yeah, so I'll just probably try and clear that probably tomorrow morning and finish that off, because I think I've got enough items for all the lotto boxes, just doing a little bit here and a little bit there. Usually when I'm in main scenario and Nero's doing his monologue, I'll do a bit of lotto box farming. But yeah, so that's that. I don't remember what the next event is actually, because it's not going to be Christmas yet. So yeah. Then I don't think that there's a Halloween event this time, because they do skip some. In JP though, they have gone back to doing Halloween events, and you know what that means? It means more welfare lizards. So
Are they still building the Tower of Lizard's failures?
maybe. I don't know what the story is, because I don't really want to spoil myself for no reason. But
Fair enough.
the other servants this time are from Chinese literature, and the setting seems to be Mount Liang, which is where the water margin takes place.
Stick that on top of the pyramid. It'll fit just fine.
Could be.
Isn't there a mansion up there?
Yeah, it's her castle, and then on top of that is the pyramid, inverted, and
Yes.
then on top of that is Himeji Castle,
Yes.
and I guess
Because
you could put Mount Liang on top, I guess.
It'll have to be upside down. It'll have to be perfectly balanced on the peak of
I don't know.
Castle.
At any rate, the new Liz is actually a Liz Lily, which is interesting because Liz is already, I think, canonically, her body age is 14 years old, I think.
This sounds like a terrible idea.
And so now she's just like a rambunctious child who has and is the first welfare of the pretender class. So
Okay.
yeah, I think she's a pretender because her weapon is this toy dragon, and I think it was this. It's like a folding staff that turns into a toy dragon type of thing. I think, I'm not really sure. Which is apparently a disguised form of one of the characters from Water Margin. Or something like that. I'm not entirely clear because I'm not reading the story ahead of time or anything. But yeah, more Lizzies is good. I like Liz. Liz is one of my favorite characters in FGO, and not least because lots of people are absolutely furious every time Liz gets another welfare, because she's got a hatedom that is at least as large, if not larger, than her fandom. Oh man, amnesia, really?
You've got to have all them lizards. It's Harambe. 2 Harambes.
I don't really want to
Yeah,
fight
but,
Harambe without abilities.
Yeah, so they've got the welfare Liz. A welfare Liz is not great. Like most of the welfare Liz's are not great. Although Cinderella Liz that we'll be getting next year, I think. Cinderella Liz is apparently a very good welfare servant, and Alter Ego Liz, Mecha Liz, and Mecha Liz Mark II are because obviously
Because
uh,
of course.
are actually very solid single target buster alter egos. Lots of people use them for welfare 3-turn compositions or welfare compositions for particular bosses and large hit point single targets, battles
Incidentally,
and that sort of thing.
how many iterations of Liz are we up to now?
Well,
8,
if
9.
you don't count Carmilla, who has Carmilla and Carmilla Summer, that leaves classic OG Liz and Halloween Liz the caster and Brave Liz the saber and Mecha Liz Mark 1 and Mark 2, who are alter egos, and Cinderella Liz, who is a rider, and now Pretender Liz Lily, and other Liz's that haven't been featured are Liz Japan, who is usually portrayed as a berserker. She's the sort of the pop idol who has gone the rock idol route, and Void Liz, who is Liz that's dominated by the Dark Star, who appears in Extella.
Right. That's a lot of Liz. Incidentally, why do I expect if I look up Camilla Summers' top evolution, she's going to be wearing a swimsuit and a bathtub of blood?
I don't
No.
actually know. Well, I don't have her, so I don't know what her final ascension art is.
I got
Off the
her.
cuff.
She was on one of the banners for one of the girls I wanted to get during that summer. I don't
Yeah.
remember what the heck she looks like because I wasn't pulling for her. She just kind of came along for the ride.
She has robot doggos.
Robot doggos?
Yes.
Right. That does raise multiple questions.
Well, she's trying to push a sort of a modern Phantom Thief archetype, as well as being like a high society lady. So she has like these. I don't know what type of dog is that. I can't recognize dog breeds on sight. I'm not really well versed.
I'll have to take a look.
Maybe Dobermans.
Yeah,
Might be Doberman.
there's some kind of attack dog.
I think of them as sort of like a German military war dog.
Right. I don't actually have the image up, so I can't weigh in.
But yeah. At any rate, there's lots of lizards, and there will be more lizards. I'm glad that they've gone back to just churning out more lizards because it antagonizes lots of people that don't like her. I think she's absolutely adorable.
Umu needs more friends, even if all her friends are.
There
various
is
versions of
literally nobody who wants more Neros.
one. No, nobody wants to know Neros.
Which is the thing about Ilya in Pinecone, in that she is voiced in the exact same way as Nero and has a very similar personality to Nero.
Oh dear.
But
It's the same VA, using the
Yeah.
same voice, and acting in the same ridiculously flamboyant manner.
but
Except that she's sort of like she's a toonie who's not a toonie, in the sense that she still acts like, you know, the dramatic mistress of the night, except that she actually is the mistress of the night. It's just a little bit disempowered, but nobody
Yep.
takes her seriously because she's disempowered.
yeah, that's the other thing is nobody takes Ilya seriously, except her cadre, and even they take pokes at her occasionally.
Well, they take pokes at her, but I think that they know that she's what holds their little club together.
Grab that rage that was in one of them coffers.
Oh. Okay, you're doing the.
Yeah, we're doing,
You're doing the
free-
thing.
We're doing the freebie.
Hooray! Freebie.
Yeah, Pinecone is in the closing stages of the Dragon Hunt event, which
I believe that's finishing around about now, actually.
yeah, which had an interesting Shiritori mini game that we mentioned last week, but I did not have the stomach to try and get all of the names for things. Like, people lose their minds doing that kind of thing. I was surprised that Ari didn't do it because it seems like the sort of autistic thing that he would engage in. However, yeah, I got to about 50% of them, roughly. I think I got the title for getting halfway, but there's no way I'm going the whole way. Maybe next year. when it comes back. I'll take another run at it, and if I get lucky enough, maybe I'll clear it. But who knows how busy I'll be at the time. It's just a very time-consuming task, and I've seen that most people have to get to about 2 million points before they clear everything. And 300,000 is as far as I got. So, yeah.
I just want the return of Kuka Cannon.
Yeah, that was a real time killer, that one. Like, you could waste a lot of time on that event.
Just
And in my mind is just a sound effect now. But yeah, I wish they hadn't put something in there that is simply bait to drive people insane, because that's hard. Also, the very hard boss, I still haven't bothered to try with the special bosses because I still can't clear very hard bosses. I was able to attempt the very hard boss this time, but I still had to do lots of resets because for whatever reason, I don't really understand the mechanics very well, but for whatever reason, this boss had the largest hysteresis in the amount of his hit point bar that I could deplete in one attempt.
yeah, it's
For the same team at the same level with the same equipment. Like, if it went really well, I could do 80% of its health and damage in one attempt. If it didn't go really well, I could only hit 40%.
because when he's sitting down munching on stuff, about a quarter second after he started munching, until he's done munching, he takes astronomically increased damage for the next like 5 to 10 seconds.
But I felt like I was doing everything the same way every time.
But yeah, I don't know. I had a team, I guess now, that perfectly lined up with his munch phase with Summer Makoto, so I used that and just didn't think about it.
Yeah, well, some of Makoto is hacks for fights like that. I used a pretty standard sort of team of Makoto, Muimi, Summer Saren, Misato, and that's only 4. Who did I have in my other slot?
I
I don't remember.
I cut Summer Saren and all TP buffers out because I wanted the TP to hit naturally. At the spot.
I couldn't get enough TP in time for the second munch phase, so I needed a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Because you're basically holding all of your union bursts in that fight.
Yeah. For the munchy munch.
But yeah. At any rate, I was able to do them in 2, which being able to clear it in 2 means that you're going to have time to open all of the high yield boxes in that event without having to do absurd amounts of extra farming.
I'm glad they did buff the looping boxes at the end to be not total trash. Finally.
Yeah, it's not actually a waste of your time this time. But yeah, so that's that. They're already advertising another event. Is that a new event or a repeat?
What's it called?
I don't.
I think it's a repeat from what the banner's showing.
I didn't check.
It is. Hang on, I've still got the game open. I'll just have a look. See, it is loading. Come on, load faster. Yeah, Twilight Breakers Revival.
Oh, that's the Nightmare event. That's where you'll get all your June shards that you'll never pull June for.
No, we already did the June event.
Oh, is that not it?
Yeah, we just did that like a couple months ago.
Okay, it's just all blurring together in my brain. Maybe it's not the June event, but that one definitely sounds like a...
It's the Twilight Caravan event.
Okay, that one.
So Ruka.
Right.
Who I have, but is still terrible for some reason. I don't seem to be able to improve her to the point that she's useful. I'm not really sure why.
I haven't been able to get Ruka to work either, but it's just she's got stiff competition right now.
Yeah, I basically use her as a poverty June when I need a little bit of extra shred.
I am so glad that I walked away from both of you.
Yeah, that was.
I'm not going to use the can of return. I'm going to res you manually.
So that you have... not even turn on.
No, it's turned on.
Why? What was all that about? Landmine and then exploding chest. Just the game hates me.
Yeah, I don't know. Ruka doesn't seem to work for me. on paper she looks okay, but I guess that's the problem, that she only looks okay on paper. She doesn't have this one selling point that makes her good.
Yeah,
So she always ends up in the sub-tank position.
Yeah, Pinecone really leans into specialized characters.
This guy had the full behemoth mechanics, didn't he?
Yeah, he's got Charybdis, so he'll drop tornadoes on people. What else does he do?
Meteors.
He drops one meteor at the very end at 20%. He'll finish whatever he's doing, and then he will cast meteor, and you've got to kill him before the meteor gets off. And what else?
I think that was it for this guy.
I'm popping strong.
I'm gonna.
He has. Oh, he runs to the side of the room and casts Cone AoE.
I'm just waiting for this weakness to fall off.
Yeah, we can get started while you're fine. It's just less damage from you.
Look at his butt. Alright.
I'm well aware, people that are watching my cringeworthy rotation right there. I know that wasn't optimal. I don't need you to tell me.
Hey, if they've been watching me play Gunhaver, then they got nothing to complain about. 'Cause I do the most ass backwards rotation to compensate for Australia lag. It's just, yeah.
No. Oh, he casts it at a person after he runs to his side. Oh,
Yeah.
ball.
Why? Why is it doing this to me? Oh, I
Because he hates you.
misclicked. I misclicked and had somebody else selected, which is why I couldn't heal myself.
Whoop.
I should probably hold on to that for when the 20% comes. He's gonna run.
Yeah.
He's gonna run first, I think. After that Charybdis.
Yeah, I think he's gonna run and then it will hit to 20%.
I'm autoing and hoping he'll run, so that'll get us more time. Yep. Okay.
There he goes.
Cool. That bought us some time. And you still got swinged.
Only slightly, just a little bit of swinge.
That's the strat for the soloing this place, by the way. Because that Ecliptic Meteor casts twice as fast, and he has more HP at floor 180. But the strat is to get him to 21%, and then just sit there until he starts to migrate across the room, and then you blow everything and try to kill him, and let that whole swinge cast animation play out, so that you have about 6 or 7 extra seconds to really pour the damage on.
That would make all the difference, yeah.
Time War Night Effect!
Nice!
I really should get that quest one day.
We gotta do Delibram Regine. It can be 4-man. In fact, it's usually 4-man.
I don't have any actions, though. I don't know. Other people seem to have tons of them. But I just get the same one over and over again. The fucking Banner of Sacrifice. I just dropped an F-bomb.
Oh, I dropped like 3 with the Anzus, so I think we're good.
I just get the same ones over and over again. It's very frustrating. I've got so many empty spaces. But
don't worry about it. All you need is Cure, and maybe go buy yourself a couple Impetuses. Those will help. This is nice bail. That's a nice one to get you out of jail free. Abo hates it because I almost get him killed with it all the time, but it saves me a lot, so I keep it on the bar. It's you teleport forward slightly, and anybody nearby you gets a mega sprint buff for about 7 seconds.
enough to sprint off the edge of an arena.
Well, enough to sprint into an enemy's attack and overcompensate for your run because you didn't know somebody was going to do it behind you. Because it affects all group members.
Yeah, it sounds like a good way to get someone killed.
I like to carry that in my secondary slot, and whatever Lost Cure is applicable for my class in my primary slot in there. And I generally don't think about it too much. If the group doesn't have one, I'll swap my Cure out for Lost Bravery. You don't really need the Lost Cure. If you really, really want to try hard it, you can put Lost Slash or something in there. But that's really much of a muchness for normal Delibram Regine. You're not going to need that.
I've picked up a grand total of 2 lost cures ever. So
You're not even going to need those. You're not going to need any. The only thing you're going to need is the passive buff. You will have to buy yourself a deep essence of deal more damage for whatever class you want to take in there.
Is that the official name?
They're all called different ones, but each class has one that's effect is essentially I do more damage.
Fair enough.
You could get the green one of do more damage and get the defense, but you really, really don't need it when you get 2-shot by everything anyway. It doesn't matter if you have 200,000 HP or 3 HP. You get 2-shot. That is just the way it works.
It's
Not
how
1-shot,
do.
not 3-shot, 2-shot.
All right.
Anyway,
We should keep moving.
right. So what else did I do this week? I watched some anime. Last week I watched the first episode of the whatchamacallit, the anime about the kid that's going to school in the demon world and trying to conceal the fact that he's a human. It's more or less the same as it was last season. It's got a lot of fans, a lot of people, including myself, found that they liked it, and are not really able to determine why. But it's just a very old school anime with very
Probably one of those.
old style of drawing. Everything about it feels like it's from like the late 90s or early 2000s. But
Okay.
yeah, it's just sort of a silly story. It's a silly sort of semi-comedic. This is the bunch of misfits that are trying to find a way to prosper under a system where they are at the bottom of the ladder type of story. But yeah, it's quite watchable. But yeah, you can't just drop into the newest season. You would need to watch the previous thing since it's a continuous story. Yeah, but it's quite watchable. I talked about the new season of Spy Cross Family last week, which is not really necessary for me to talk about since it's indistinguishable from the one beforehand. That's basically, they spaced it out. I watched the first episode of the new season of Bleach, and it's basically, we just picked up where we left off, except now our budget is way big.
Now you feel like number one?
Yeah, and the thing I was mainly taken aback in is that their introductory sequence, where they're basically bringing in the classic characters again, and reintroducing them one by one, is like, why are you guys doing so much random property damage to the city that you live in? Like, that was not a thing before, now it's a thing. Like, you can excuse it when it was the Hollows who were doing random property damage because, you're not directly responsible for that and nobody else can see it anyway. But when you're killing Hollows and you're doing so by just bashing them into the scenery and blowing crap up, like, I don't remember that being a thing in the manga. I think that they just wanted to be dramatic.
Shining bright for everyone.
But yeah, as it gets,
the game is now playing a bomb.
As it gets increasingly Nazi, I'm interested to see how people react to it, because a lot of people probably weren't who watch anime now, especially from the SJW contingent, because the SJW contingent are always Johnny come latelys to anything that they participate in, and so probably haven't watched the original content and didn't have an existence in that sphere around the time where the original material came out, where it was just like an accept with a shrug thing that the Japanese like the Hugo Boss aesthetic quite a bit. we'll say. And I think that particular contingent is probably going to have a negative reaction to having actual Nazis be a major faction. Well, they're not actual Nazis in the classical sense, not like they were in Diaz era,
Yeah, they were just straight up Nazis in that.
Yeah, those are actually Nazis. Oh well, the Nazis survived. They were arguably even more sort of stereotypically Nazi than the ones in Helsing. Because I
Yeah,
mean, after all, they just like war.
And it got a big blimp.
But
yeah, really likes war.
yes, he does like war an awful lot, and he will
Sentiment.
not hesitate to tell you so.
I like war.
Oh,
I can't actually do the whole quote because we'll get canceled.
It's really long as well.
The real quote involves the I like the thing that will make the long-nosed people very angry at me. So no, I cannot do the full parody speech.
Well, he has a problem with Igor,
He do.
but yeah. It was an episode of Bleach. Is basically what I can say about it. There's not really anything else to go
I mean,
into.
that's kind of what they wanted.
Yeah, I mean that is what people wanted. People didn't like the fact that it ended one arc before the final arc. I hope that they do go forward and address the issues that the final arc had, but there is probably limited scope to do that because everything will be under the iron-fisted control of Shonen Jump, essentially, or Viz Media. Don't know who's going to be handling it. But yeah, it's a thing. It was very nostalgic to see it back again, and of course to hear that music again. But
Living out
yeah.
your fantasy. The brightest star that's ever been.
That was a thing. It was a thing. I also watched the first episode of Chainsaw Man.
How's that going?
Well, I mean, it's shonen. It's more modern. You can sort of, how do I communicate this? It has that. Back in the 90s, 2000s, shonen was based around wanting to be a hero, generally speaking. Like,
Yep.
protecting the weak and becoming strong so you can beat the bad guys. In the modern era, a lot of shonen is increasingly about wishing for a normal life because life seems unspeakably shitty. And usually the most that the protagonist can hope for is to gain a better appreciation for his current circumstances rather than being able to heroically improve them. And this seems to be sort of like a cultural zeitgeist thing. It's the 90s and 2000s were still an era of optimism culturally, and the 2020s are definitely not. The 2020s are definitely we're moving into an era of trying to make do with what you can do because everything is stupid.
Yeah, 2020s so far have been, let's face it, a shit show.
Yeah, and all of it is for reasons that are sort of arguably outside your control, and generally things are bad for everybody, and basically they are bad to varying degrees for everybody who is in the masses, so to speak.
It's especially bad for
like,
people
there
like
are-
us
there are
that
those-
saw it coming and told everybody it was coming and nobody listened.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's just we don't control the media. We don't have we don't have an empowered agenda to push. But what I'm getting at is that this is the position from which the main character of oh my goodness me, what are you doing? This is the position from which the main character of Chainsaw Man approaches his entry to the shonen world. Is what he wants is the bare minimum of comfort that he could get by with because his life is unspeakably bad, and it is unspeakably bad to the point of being comically bad. I think that it's walking a very perilous line there with how unpleasant they made his life.
Fern, I'm gonna pop a rage, and then we're gonna get in the porter.
Alright.
But yeah, he's got a really he's in a situation where his dad, unexplained, left him a debt of staggering size, unexplained, to the Yakuza, unexplained, and he was going to be basically vivisected to pay it off, or at least to recoup some losses.
Fern, use a Serenity. Serenity.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can't use the Manticore with knockback penalty on. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So,
And-
what were they hoping to do? Harvest some organs from him?
Oh,
Yeah,
he sold his testicle and his eyeball, at least.
Yeah.
And his kidney.
Because he was trying. Well, this is when he's an adult. I'm talking about when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And as he's grown up, he's just trying to do whatever he can to try and pay down the debt. Although it's questionable whether or not you can pay down a debt for the Yakuza, depending on the depiction. They're either extremely honourable about people that pay their debts, or they don't give a toss. And will just keep loan sharking you. I don't know what it's like in reality. They are criminals after all, but they're criminals who believe themselves to have a code of honour.
Yeah. They've got their own rules.
I don't know whether stick to the rules is one of those rules or not, though. That's the question.
Do those rules apply outside of the Yakuza?
But, so he's got this comically terrible life, and he makes a deal with a little dog devil thing.
It's
which
adorable.
is a chainsaw, I guess. Which is, out of place adorable compared to everything else in the world.
It's got this little yippy chainsaw puppy. Because I watched this episode too, because it's the current talk of the town. I didn't want to be left out.
Is the world's cutest little chainsaw.
And so he makes a deal with the Yakuza that he'll be able to basically recoup more costs if he works for them as a devil hunter.
Yes, you do.
Because apparently devils are a thing in this world, and public safety eliminates them, but the corpses have value on the black market, and you essentially need an underworld devil hunter in order to acquire the corpses, because a legit devil hunter will turn them over to the government. So he basically is one of these underground devil hunters working for the Yakuza, using his demon puppy as a weapon. You don't really see much of him actually doing this, so his precise level of aptitude for it is a bit unclear, though it must be adequate because he's not dead.
He does fight, a tomato demon or something that doesn't sound particularly imposing.
Yeah, it seems like there are different classes of demon, and that the Yakuza were of sufficient common sense to realize that they will make more money off him if they don't put him up against something he can't fight. But yeah, basically, eventually the Yakuza try and do a deal with the devil. They get exactly what you normally get, and
well, they made a deal with the zombie devil. It's their own fault.
yeah, like of the devils you could pick, you're probably better off sticking with the chainsaw puppy, TBH.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they all get turned into zombies, and the zombie just wants to eliminate the main character because he hates devil hunters, because he's a devil, and hating devil hunters is a logical thing for a devil to do. And so the main character gets wrecked, basically. But because the devil puppy lived his life, lived a relatively comfortable life. His life was saved by the main character, and they basically had they eked out their tiny bit of happiness that they could on one slice of bread a day, type of thing. And having appreciated how selflessly he was taken care of, decides that he'll give up his life to save the main character, and fuses with him, making the main character into the Chainsaw Man, who then destroys all of the zombies and the zombie demon and whatnot, and is then recovered effectively by the Public Safety Devil Hunters Bureau, or whatever they're going to be called. So it's a relatively conventional sort of pilot episode, but they clearly blew a lot of budget on it. It's pretty solidly produced, all told. But honestly, it really hasn't had much to show anything special about itself as of yet, I would say.
Right now, it would be a show I would watch if I accidentally clicked on it and saw like the pilot for it. I'd be like, okay, I could watch that. But it's not something to get hype over a season for.
Yeah, but what I will say about it is it didn't immediately put me off like so much modern content does. Like there wasn't anything about it that I found was really annoying or obnoxious. It was just, oh well, this is a shonen show. It's relatively slickly produced. People say it goes well as it progresses. Like it seems like a relatively solid shonen, which is basically all you can hope for with most shonen. So I came away with a similar impression that I did with Jujutsu Kaisen, except that it's a little bit darker and it's not quite so paint by numbers. Yeah, there's not really anything much in particular to say about it just yet. The main thing I thought was interesting about it was how unoptimistic it seems compared to most shonen, and not just in like a blithely edgy sense. It's just like, oh well, this is what the world is like, and in the real world there are people who fall between the cracks, and there isn't much help for them. And you know, sometimes you've just got to find what happiness you can, because you're not going to be able to just. Not everybody can just get what they want because they want it, type of thing. So it really did feel like a shonen of the current era rather than a previous era, which is got more of a less of a optimistic you can do anything attitude to a you got to do what you can with what you got attitude. So yeah, the tone is a bit different. I don't know if there's much else for me to talk about specifically. Might look at a couple of other things tonight if I feel like it, but it's not the most inspiring of seasons, and it's got a whole bunch more sort of ecchi shows again, which seems to be the bulk of content that's getting produced as isekai and ecchi at the moment.
Seems like at the moment we get one season of isekai and then one season of ecchi.
Yeah, like I think we're just in sort of like an animation ghetto right now.
Yeah.
Like things are just they're on the downturn, and we've had periods like this in the past. Like I always mention, we may be in the isekai ghetto at the moment, but we've been in the moe ghetto before, and it does last a few seasons where you don't get anything except paint by numbers trash that you don't care about.
We go back to the mecha ghetto. I like that ghetto.
Oh,
The mecha ghetto was also terrible.
It was actually.
Have you forgotten Daimodala?
Yes.
Now you're remembering it.
And I hate you for it.
And now you know why the mecha ghetto was also terrible, because that's what happens. That was like the bottom dregs of the ghetto.
I was perfectly happy. I had actually forgotten about Daimodala. And you reminded me, and now my life is ruined.
Yeah.
All over again.
This type of thing happens with each genre that experiences a surge in popularity. Why are you doing this, Aristeel? Why are you trying to kill us this way? But yeah, the moe one, like I mean, the moe boom happened, and how many of that era do people even remember? Like they remember K-On!
And
that's
K-On! And honestly,
there were other related ones at the time, like Lucky Star in the animated version of Manga Dio. But basically, there's like K-On! And Clannad and Clannad again when they redid it. I mean, no, not Clannad.
Clannad's Depression.
What's the Clannad's Depression? But it was also playing on the Moe one. I'm talking the other one, Canon, and which was supposed to be depressing, but instead was a little bit cringy.
Yes.
But they had a bunch of them, but most of them are not memorable. Like I'm incredulous at the amount of content that got made for Shuffle and the number of times they released it. Because because they didn't have light novels to draw on in this case, they drew from VNs instead. So you got 4 seasons worth of Da Capo for whatever reason. and a whole bunch of other stuff like that.
And still no second season of No Game No Life.
That's never going to happen.
Jimmy's set to rustled. I mean, as far as isekais go, there is also a lot of others that I would much rather have seen get a second season than just simply trotting out new one after new one. Like, there was one, I can't remember what it was called. There's another Demon Lord one where the main character, basically in this case, the main character is a guy who runs a small time MMO, like a fan one. So he's sort of, he's all powerful already as far as the MMO is concerned because he runs the show. But it seems like, it seems like it's come to the end of its lifespan and he's shutting it down. And when he shuts it down, he ends up getting transported to the world. And a lot of his abilities are locked out because he's got sort of the parameters of a player, but he does, because he knows everything about it and he's got some access to some of his original power, he can do, overpowered things. Now, it's the same paint by numbers approach that most of these things have. And the main character is like comically powerful and never really experiences any significant threats. However, I still was entertained by it because his character class seems to be quite limited to a few things. Like he can do sort of like a lot of grand and sweeping overpowered stuff, but he doesn't have a huge resource bar, so to speak. And when it comes to sort of like generally being OP in combat, he has to activate another mode as an NPC that he was obviously DMing. But the thing is that the NPC, when he's being that person, he doesn't have any control over what he does, and the NPC acts entirely in character, and the NPC is unspeakably cringe. So, and then when he sort of unmerges from this character form, he then has to go through the deep sense of shame at having behaved in this way.
That actually sounds kind of fun.
And I found that particular aspect of it extremely entertaining. But anyway, that was of the sort of late isekai era where the attribute being blended with it was, rather than, oh well, this is about getting 15 girlfriends in a fantasy world, this was of the generation that was about, oh, I've adopted a daughter in this fantasy world because she's an orphan who doesn't have anybody to take care of her and is obviously completely adorable and will worship the ground I walk on, type of thing.
The phase before the deconstructions kicked in.
Yeah, so the phase where you can tell that all of the people who were into the harem ones have now grown up and they wish that they had a family instead of they wish they had a harem. Which is an inevitable facet of our society because, the family unit is functionally collapsed in the West, so most of us won't get to have kids of our own because that's the phase of history that we're in, where monogamy has imploded. But, which is a depressing thought, but, at any rate, we're in an animation ghetto. The animation ghetto continues for another season. I might take a poke at a bunch of things. I basically holidayed from watching anime essentially last season, so I might poke at a few more things this time round. But there are lots of calls on my leisure time, lots of things that I want to do. So it's not necessarily a high priority. When they start trotting out like half a dozen really fun shows a season, like they were doing, 15 seasons ago or so, and I was watching heaps of anime, then maybe. I would rather not watch the Bishonen shows with the singing Pomeranians anymore because that was cringe. The one more thing that I did this week was that I continued to wrestle with
Where are you going, Fern?
with the pressing question. Oh, is there still a horde?
Oh, there is still a horde. We gotta find a horde.
I'm glad Fern is on the ball because I'm sure not.
Follow horde!
I found a horde.
Okay, I'm heading back there. The other thing I did was I continued the pressing matter of looking into the whole graphics card question, because the 4090s are out now, and the 4090 deployment has been an interesting process. The MSRP is off the scale. I think it's like something like $1,800 US.
Yeah.
Oof.
For New Zealand,
what What it's actually being sold for is scalpers at $4,000. Now,
There
because
you go.
the stock in New Zealand is very limited, but the number of buyers in the market in New Zealand is also very limited. So you can actually buy them from a store in New Zealand. However, it will cost you 4,300 New Zealand dollars. Now,
Yeah, how about no?
this was not something I was seriously looking into, obviously. But I'm interested in the dynamics of it and the way it'll affect the prices of other things and the way the market will be affected. But the thing is that the way they've deployed it has essentially caused it to have no effect on the market at all, which is basically what I expected. That was my highest probability outcome, was that there would be no effect on the market because they'll strangulate the supply and put the MSRP so high that it's not going to perturb the rest of the market because they need to protect it. This, I think that the 30 series is from 2020. So there's only a couple of years worth of water under the bridge. And so when the 30 series came out, we were like mid-stride of the Ethereum mining boom, if people remember that. And so the supply was basically non-existent to the extent that eventually, I don't know if it was NVIDIA or if it was NVIDIA partners, devised this thing called the LHR series, which existed for everything below the 3070 Ti, I believe. So 3070, 3060 Ti, 3060, 3050. What the LHR was a special version of the hardware with firmware that had been built onto the board. And they broke this actually by accident with an update, but this was the original. Which when they broke it, they showed everybody how to work around it. But this was the original plan: was that there was firmware built into it which would halve the rate of processing Ethereum hashes, specifically, so performance would be untouched along every other axis, but you couldn't use it to mine efficiently. And this was to create a class of cards that they could reduce the price of. This strategy collapsed because they accidentally broke the strategy by releasing an update that broke the hash rate halving. So having done that, people need to do is work out what the difference was between the two builds, and then they could work around it to some extent. So the prices ended up being such that LHR and non-LHR didn't have much difference between each other, and this has persisted to this day. However, Ethereum mining is no longer profitable. People are holding on to their rigs because as time passes on, incrementally more people each boom bust cycle will realize that perhaps they can hold on to their Ethereum and not cry, because the price will go back up again eventually and it will become profitable to mine again eventually, provided that energy prices don't keep doing what they're doing, which they will, because the only country that's planning to open new nuclear reactors is Sweden.
Yes. So yeah, it's a big gamble to hang on to so much investment in the rigs as well as so much liquid Ethereum, because.
But they can't really liquidate their rigs though, because they would cause a price crash in the market if everybody did it.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be the one responsible for that. And with NVIDIA sort of in the camp of wanting to stop that from happening, and a lot of their partners in that camp as well, since apparently there's a lot of 30 series stock built up, because when the boom started happening, they started manufacturing as much as they could afford to manufacture, and they overshot the market a little bit. So now there are warehouses full of 30 series they can't get rid of.
Yeah. So NVIDIA's got warehouses full of 30 series. There's also the scalpers and the crypto kitties are also sitting on big stockpiles of them.
Yeah, so it's sort of hard to tell what's going to happen now, because everybody's got stock they want to get rid of, and the timer is functionally started. Now, 3 40 series cards had been announced initially. The 30, which ones were they? I think there was the 4090, the 4080 16 gigabyte, and the 4090 12 gigabyte. I think that was the layout. The thing is, the two 4080s are not two versions of the same card with different amounts of memory. They named them like they were. This caused a huge amount of backlash, obviously, because it feels like false advertising. I'm sure the Nvidia legal team went over it with a fine-tooth comb and decided that it wasn't, because nobody wants to get sued. But they have, because of the backlash, they've pulled back on this. And despite the fact that all of the marketing and the printing the paint on the cards and the printing the boxes is all finished, they have decided that they're going to, what did they call it? Unlaunch
Yeah.
the lower 3080. And so presumably they're going to rebrand it as probably the 30, I mean not the 3080, the 4080. Presumably they're going to rebrand it as the 4070 Ti or the 4075 or something like that. To try and so that they can release the hardware, because they've already got their partners doing it. Now, keep in mind the partners have already created their boards and have done their branding on it and have done their marketing on it and have done their box printing. So Nvidia's brought out the massive amount of outlay to subsidize the redoing of all the packaging and documentation. That
A little bit of forethought would have prevented this.
Well, the thing is that they must have been threatened with something.
Yeah.
Like legal must have come out and said, no, you are borrowing trouble here with this little scam that you're trying to run.
Yeah. Or possibly in some places it would have had some authority coming, because if you are crossing the line here.
Or maybe somebody in the sphere of people who were doing the reviewing the sort of manufacturer boards, maybe there was a discussion was starting to happen about whether this could fuel a class action lawsuit or something like that. Ari, you're not in range.
No,
you keep line of sighting me. And Fern's doing it too.
I'm trying not to move, but there's so many things I'm trying to gather up.
So both of you nearly died. There is a big thing in the middle of this room.
I was looking for the witching commander. Oh, the door's open.
That is in fact
yeah.
the thing. Yeah, so that's happening, but this has caused the market to basically freeze in place, because now everybody is waiting with bated breath for what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
As such, I'm not able to make any progress on my decision-making process. So, yeah, because I'm dependent on using the way prices are now as a model for what I'll buy. Now, at the prices that it costs to buy a card in New Zealand, I can't buy a card as good as what Ari's got. Like, that's not doable. Like, I would need to shell out like $1,200 for that, even at current prices. It's too New Zealand bucks. So that's just too much for me. I've got a lot of bills to pay as it is. I've got to pay rent. I've got to pay ever escalating power costs. I've got to try and keep myself fed, etc., etc. So I can allocate some money, but not that much. The question is, well, there are two cards that are basically in the strike zone for the top of my price range, and that's the 6700 XT from AMD and the 3060 Ti from Nvidia. I don't have a strong AMD versus Nvidia preference. I've used AMD far more often than Nvidia in the past, but that's because in the past they've been a really good value proposition. That's changed recently because of Nvidia inventing a whole bunch of new crap. Oh, the other question, of course, is that I didn't splurge on a really powerful power supply the way Ari did, because I just couldn't see myself being able to afford a graphics card requiring it. Unfortunately, the next generation of Nvidia graphics cards will have incredible power demand based on what we've seen. And basically at the 3070 Ti level, I would be at the cap of what my power supply can do. And that's a risky proposition because the 30 series suffers from transient power draw spikes, which means once in a while, the amount of current required by the card to run will increase by about 2 times to 2.5 times the standard power draw, which means that you'll need capacitors big enough to supply momentarily about 1300 watts to run a 3070.
Right.
And I don't I don't trust my power supply to do that. It might be able to. Most good power supplies can, but I'm not quite sure because I haven't done a lot of research on power supplies. You usually don't have to, right? How much research do you normally do on the power supply? Not a
Is it
lot.
reliable? Yes,
Compared to everything else, you don't do a lot of research. So yeah, because I don't know
Yeah.
much about that, I'm not gonna gamble on it. So I'm looking at 3060 Ti versus 3700 XT. Now, the thing is that because the technology of the architecture has really diverged in the past generation or two, it's a difficult choice to make actually, because the 3070, the 6700 XT performs really well, and the architecture performs really well at 1080p with no ray tracing, and in that scenario, which is like 99% of what I play, the frame rates can blow the 3060 Ti out of the water. It's
Yeah.
just it's bizarre.
I'm actually running a 6700 XT at the moment, and it is a great little card.
But the thing is, as you increase the resolution to 1440 and then up to 4K, the gains drop like a stone. And by the time you get to 4K, you're performing slightly worse than a 3060 Ti. And once you take into account DSSR or whatever they call DSS, they've got an acronym for their algorithmic frame interpolation system that increases the card efficiency that NVIDIA has. That thing increases the frame rate significantly, and then when you turn ray tracing on, the 6700 XT suddenly performs at about half the performance of a 3060 Ti.
Yeah.
It just cannot do that. The architecture cannot do ray tracing. Now, I don't usually play games that have ray tracing, and I usually don't play games at any resolution above 1080p because my monitors are 1080p. The thing is that I kept my current graphics card for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if it becomes a standard assumption that you can do ray tracing and that you can do these other sort of frame interpolations and that type of thing over the course of the next 7 years, then I don't want to get stuck with a card that actually won't work and be forced to upgrade when the rest of the technology changes. What I'm banking on to prevent this is the fact that the most popular card in the world is the RTX 970, and that everybody in South America uses one, because nobody in South America can afford anything better.
Yeah.
And that market drives a lot of gaming.
It is a huge market that for some reason always goes neglected, and it boggles the mind as to why.
Well, it's because they only buy the 970. So it doesn't look like a gaming market when you do the analytics. Like if you look at the Steam analytics, I'll be like, oh well, the most popular card is the 3070 non-Ti in the current generation of gamers.
Yep.
That's the most popular card in the world, and it's not close. But by the numbers, it's probably a whole bunch of BRs using their 970s. If you actually, took into account all of the people who don't show up on the normal analytics, because the normal analytics are looking at Western Europe and North America.
Yeah, they tend to skip over South America and Asia in a lot of cases.
I found the patrols.
Sometimes they include Asia, sometimes they don't. South America usually just gets ignored though.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got a lot of calculation to do, because the 6700 XT seems like a really great card. It's still expensive. Like in New Zealand, I'm going to be looking at like nearly $900 for one of those new, and not even like a super fancy one, just sort of a middle of the range partner card in that particular chipset.
Oh no.
Why have you done this, Fern?
It's
Because
okay.
apparently it's luring all the way down.
But I'm also tempted by the 3060 Ti simply because across applications, like across the different things that you could choose to do with it, it's more consistent performance. Whereas the 67 XT is hyper specialized for the thing that I do the most of. So what decision do you make then? Because it's true that 6700 XT is the best for what I currently do, but that's only in the current market with the current situations with the current game technology. And if only thing I ever wanted to take into account was the current situation, then I wouldn't need to upgrade my card at all. So yeah,
Ultimately, when I bought the 6700, it came down to availability.
yeah,
Like,
that
I
is very
bought
much it was very much the case at the time you bought it.
Yeah,
But
like
you
there
don't
was
have
no 6700s around. There were no 3060s around or 3070s.
yeah you
So
aren't seeing huge numbers of people trying to build their first crypto rig right now. So there's not a huge draw on the stock, and people are going to want to offload stock. So yeah, the question is now: is the market going to change? Will the economy survive until Black Friday? Like most commentators think that there's going to be a major economic realignment worldwide over the course of the next 6 months, but nobody knows when the fulcrum point will be. A lot of people suspect that it will be around the American midterm elections because that's the start of winter and a big political upheaval in the most powerful economic nation on earth. So,
and it's when all our yearly spending will go through, and we'll have time to thoroughly dump all the supply from everywhere, and everything will suddenly become scarce again. And I'll have to sit on the phone with customers again, explaining why the crap is now 8 to 10 weeks on delivery again.
I'm currently sitting in the posture of telling myself repeatedly that I don't need to buy a card now. I don't need to buy one now. My current one is at the end of its life. My card is like a 380. So it's literally from like, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10 or 11 generations ago of technology. Not all of those got released as products, but it's from a lot of generations ago. But it's still performing pretty damn solidly to this day because it was in the 80 series. So it's sort of like the equivalent of having a buying an Nvidia like 480 or whatever way back when, which was a really good card if I recall correctly. But yeah, so it's still working now, so I don't need one now. However, it's at the end of its lifespan, and my question is the economic upheaval that's going to happen going to be of the sort of scope where I'll still be able to buy a graphics card, or that I won't be able to buy a graphics card?
You know my philosophy with money. Money is made to be spent as long as you don't spend all of it. And then, so...
Yeah, but you also, you know what it's like to check the price repeatedly on the thing you just bought and see it drop by $50 a week.
I know. But I only wound up losing, if I'd have played chicken with it, about $150. And that's pretty good. I'll take that. And then the price...
You also, a higher percentage of your income, which is higher income than mine, is also discretionary income because you don't have to pay rent. So...
That is true.
I am penny pinching to a certain extent. Like, this is my primary hobby, so you got to spend money on your hobbies. It's what discretionary income is for. But yeah, I'm just not sure whether to pull the trigger now because a $900 prospect now might, in 5 weeks it might actually be $1 million because of hyperinflation. Or it might have, if the economy is still in its like slow state of decay, it might have dropped to 700. So yeah, because I'm not going to be gaining $200 of performance over the course of the next 5 weeks till Black Friday ish, something like that. I don't know. It's sort of hard to tell what the correct move is there. Anyway, I've navel gazed about that long enough. I'll call it into my week there.
All right, I think we've got time to get through Ari's week, and then that's probably going to be it.
Oh, we've got the email though. Oh.
I don't think we're going to have time.
I'll zippity-doo-dah as fast as I can and then burn through the email.
You need to hire more people.
We do.
Speaking of needing to hire more people.
Working on it.
I hate taxes. I hate the government. That's half of my week.
That's your week every week.
Yeah. Just making sure we all know. Oh, crap. I gotta pay attention during this boss, too. Probably y'all heard me rocking in my squeaky chair just now while I'm thinking about how I'm going to do this.
Oh, is this Obdalord? Are we doing Obdalord?
Yeah. Stay relatively in the middle. and I'll pop strength and resolution and deal with the ads. And after the third batch dies, I won't have to pay attention anymore. Don't get hit by anything. All of it has doom, or assume all of it has doom.
Doom.
Okay, Fern, pull the boss.
All right, let's get doomy. All right.
Fern, get more in the middle. You're too far up.
All right.
Also, Vol, get more in the middle because you're the one that's going to get aggro on the stray ads.
I am in the middle though.
No, I mean like in the
There we go, that's
smack in the middle because I need.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I need.
Usually in MMO terms, the middle just means sort of like the center quartile.
Yeah. What I mean is I need them to run into my circle AoE.
Got the doomy dooms.
You don't have.
Yet.
You don't have doom. I made the ads disappear. You don't have doom. All right, turn.
Alright.
Actually, I'm.
So you're seeing ads run past and throwing out the AoE on them
Actually, I'll dump.
because it's what you're supposed to do.
I'll throw a few cooldowns on him. I got animation lock turning into an angel.
Oh no!
I have a dispellable something on me.
It's a paralysis.
Right, so rest of my week was mostly spent playing Trails from Zero. And there's not a whole lot much to say about it. It's another Trails game. I like the Trails series. I've already gone on at length in previous episodes about how much I like the Trails series. I really like that universe. It is nice to step back from where we ended in Cold Steel of, you know, the escalation of threat has reached continent destroying by the end of that, and now we're just the police.
And you don't have to play as a
You're
lewd
just now the
head-patting-
police.
Yeah,
You
and
don't have
that
to play as a lewd head-patting playboy anymore.
yeah, we are now a nice, calm, shoulder-patting Lloyd. And that's another thing. I like Lloyd way better than I like Reen. Lloyd's kind of stale, but Lloyd's not offensive in any way. And he's not just so on the nose with how generic he is. You can tell there's stuff going on with Lloyd from the get-go, and it's not some secret dark past like it is with Reen. It's just, oh, some bad stuff happened to Lloyd, and he's still trying to get over it. Like, you know...
I felt like Joshua's Dark Past was done pretty well as far as Dark Pasts go.
Yeah, well, his was dropped as the big reveal at the end of first chapter. And handled through... and had an entire extra game to fully explore it. Reen just kind of has his... If you ever play the Cold Steel games, you'll understand why I got a problem with Reens.
Well, I own them. It's just that that's a huge amount of time to somehow block out to play them.
Yeah.
I
They
still have
are
to finish
long
Sky
games.
first.
Yeah. Lloyd is just a dude who went to the police academy to become a cop to work in the same field his brother used to, who died in the line of duty. And you understand there's some shenanigans behind that. And that's about as far as we know right now. I'm only at chapter 2. I have not had infinite free time this week because taxes. Hey, somewhere in the mess, what's his name? Odin's up in one of the zones.
Oh, nice.
I don't know which.
Also, level 60.
One more to go.
Congratulations.
Not that we're going to get it on the show, but you're closer now.
Yeah.
So,
Where would Odin be spawned?
he can spawn in any
This
of
font.
the. He spawn. His fate can spawn. Yes, an Earth font, but there's like 8 spawn locations throughout Gridania it can spawn whenever this weather shows up. For the special fate. So good luck finding it because it's not marked on the map.
There's probably a Discord where it's being called.
Yeah, if you go to the Hunt Discord, I imagine
Yeah.
they're calling it out right now. But oh, they're calling it out in this zone.
All right. See if we can get over there in time.
We will attempt to. But yeah, I generally like. I have no idea where.
Also, incidentally, follow Budget Goku, wherever that happens to be.
I have no idea where it is. I'm looking around. Oh wait, is
If you
that
know the
it?
spawn places.
I don't know the spawn places is the thing. Oh wait, this is it. He's over here.
Zzz.
Steel Rain. Here it is. Level sync when you get over here. Yep, they're going.
I don't need a level sync. I'm already in the levels range.
It's,
Aha!
it's level 50. Oh, I'm synced to level 70 doing this. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just happened to upon a world boss. And you're getting to see there's a B rank hunt just running by casually.
Yep.
So yeah, this is thoroughly distracting. I don't
Unbelievably so.
I don't remember what the heck I was going to say about the Crossbow games. Finished all the introductory stuff at Chapter 2, but got to see the big arc NCL scene. Yes, it's really good, like everybody says it is. But that's where I stopped. At Chapter 3 now. There are 6 chapters plus the finale and the prologue in the game to give you an idea where I'm at. There is some autist that made a checklist for the game that is spoiler-free, and I love them for it, and I'm totally getting hit by this.
Oh, I just got dead, apparently.
Do happen.
I have no idea what I'm actually doing in this fight. I'm just gonna lay here and watch everybody not do anything. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, watching this game catch up when you start lagging is, it's trippy.
How is this fight even supposed to work?
I have no idea.
I'm just gonna stand out here and tomahawk because I don't know what's going on. I don't want to turn to stone again.
Yeah, I barely lived through that last time. Oh, that's the...
Oh no!
That's the everybody's gonna die if we don't kill him.
Rage.
Yeah.
Okay, we won.
There you go, Zentetsuken. Okay, we did.
Hey!
Yay!
Yay! I don't know what to do with these mantles.
Nor do
I
I.
got five mantles, yeah. Let's turn them in for his mount.
Probably if you get 100 of them.
Usually with the fates,
Yeah.
it's 2 to 4 kills, depending on what X-Pack it was released.
Yeah.
Or I think
Have to look it up.
I think Behemoth is actually 5.
The barding is 5. The weapon is 5. Armor is 5 apiece, although it's a 2-piece set. So 5 is enough to get barding.
Okay.
Okay.
So we got 5 mantles. So okay, that was a thing that happened.
That was a private little, profitable little side trip. All right. Where were we?
Crossbow. Trails from Zero. Right. Not a whole lot more to report. I am reserving most of my opinions for finishing the game because, like all starts of a Trails franchise or a Trails series within the franchise, the first game is one giant prologue that sets up everything and gets you established with all the characters and the way that particular area of the universe works. And Crossbell's interesting. I like Crossbell in that it has a tenuous position of being on the border state between Rimaferia and or not Rimaferia, between Calvard and Erebonia, with both factions from both areas trying to influence the political scene in Crossbell, and the underworld dealings that pop up to deal with that. And basically, your section of the police is set up because the bracers are getting too much cred because the cops are treated like the feds, and nobody likes them. So
Do they deserve it? That's the big question.
so far, yeah, they deserve it. They're bad at
The feds are still treated better than they deserve.
So far, the Crossbell cops are pretty incompetent at their jobs, and everyone you've met so far has been a bell end.
So, Police Academy is like in the Police Academy movies.
Yeah. So,
That would probably be an improvement.
yeah. So you're set up as the special support section to try and recoup the reputation of the police force, and this is all being helmed by one guy that's trying to change things from the inside, who's a fat cigarette smoking, generally nice boss type character, but he's clearly not an action hero, if you know what I mean. Like he's your typical fat police commissioner type who just has this as a passion project. And everybody else in the department thinks he's insane for trying this, and the people he's picked for it are all, he's got one of the politician's granddaughters, this random rookie from the police academy, this guy that got kicked out of one of the Fortress Guard military patrols because he's a womanizer, and a 14-year-old prodigy from the Epstein Foundation who was been trained from birth to be an orbital engineer.
Unfortunate.
And so, but he's just like, yeah, this is perfect. I'll take this. And is just rolling with it. Sergey is simultaneously the most chill and most off-putting individual I've met for an authority figure in these games so far. And that he doesn't give me villain vibes. I don't think he'll turn out to be a bad guy. Most of the stuff he's set up seems too genuinely good for the community to make him a bad guy. But he just I don't know what I think of him yet. And so you run around doing odd jobs, intercepting what the bracers can, and eventually you get your big break at the start of Chapter 2 is where the story takes off, and where I think I'll end major story spoilers. Where you go to investigate a threat letter for the Ark-NCL, this big theater in Crossbell that's referenced all the way back in the Liberal games for how big and prominent it is. And you get to meet the two actresses for the current play, and one of them has got this threat letter that says, cancel the performance, otherwise you'll regret it, and all the citizens in attendance will die horribly. And it's from this very credible assassin that works with Calvard. And you're like, oh no, we need to look into this. So after some shenaniganery, you run around and you figure out, oh wait, no, the letter was a ruse by the secretary of the current mayor of the city to try and assassinate the mayor to give him a better political position for the next election. And then blame it on Calvard and try to heighten tensions with them and curry favor with the Imperial faction that works for Erebonia. And you manage to stop him, and your whole team's chasing him down, and all the police are being incompetent at their job, but your team manages to corner him several times until your best doggo finally tackles the guy and drags him to the ground. And you get your big old headline in the Crossbell Times, and things are looking up. This means things can only go downhill from here.
Things never look up for very long in a JRPG.
Yeah, we have hit the peak of where our character is going to be in terms of popularity. Things are all downhill from here.
Like, you're going to get accused of treason, or there's going to be something horrible will happen.
Yeah, it's everything's downhill from here. But I'm really enjoying this pulled back local story that's going on so far. We don't have any world destroying plots. Ouroboros is there, as they always are. Ouroboros is always the linchpin in whether or not a trail's story goes good or not. Because sometimes they really add to the story, and sometimes they really don't. Cold Steel 3 and 4 are the prime examples of them really, really dropping the ball.
Well, I felt like it's a standard approach in JRPG to start the story very local. It's quite rare that they don't. In fact, the only one that routinely doesn't is Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy usually starts off at the world scope from the word go, a lot of the time. Especially if you look at like FF8's probably the best example, because you're basically a filthy PMC.
Yep.
And so you've got to travel all over the world, wrecking the political situation in foreign countries, much like the American military. on the regular. But yeah, if you look at the way, say, Sky did it, like it's a very, very localized story, very, very personal story for throughout most of Trails in the Sky 1.
And then Ouroboros happens.
You cut out, so I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, and then Ouroboros happens. And they
Yeah.
actually
Well,
pull it together
don't
there
really,
in Sky, though.
you don't really have any concept of the fact that Ouroboros is happening for most of Chapter 1.
Yeah. It's, and then the stuff with the Oriel and all that goes on. But even that, in the Sky, or the Trail series has done very good about keeping their big explosive conflicts not exceeding the country level. They don't even hit the whole continent. Their destructive mega powers only threaten the current country. And that seems to be as far as they go.
I think that a lot of stories that go about the world-ending threat thing, they end up being a bit sort of, I don't know, like just sort of like derpy and hard to credit at the end. Like, one of the main reasons I don't like Final Fantasy VII story very much is that it's all based around blowing up the world with a comet, which just seems like an 80s cartoon villain plot. It
It's a
doesn't
magic comet though.
it doesn't seem very credible. Like, and for the exact same reason that I don't like the FF7 sort of the final plot line, is the same reason that people don't like the FF8 one. I think the FF8 one is much more credible because it's sort of like it's basically the same plot line as End of Evangelion. You've got a bunch of selfish people, or in the case of FF8, one selfish person who wants to dissolve all of mankind in order to preserve something, which is her view of the world, effectively. Ultimecia wants to compress time and have all time be as one moment because she doesn't like the idea of time being stretched across because of the fact that you lose things when that happens. When time passes, you lose things. And she doesn't see any reason for that to be the case, so she wants to compress time, which is at least reasoned, as opposed to, I have mommy issues, and so I'm going to blow up the world, which is Sephiroth's reasoning, essentially. But
I have government issues, and so I'm going to blow up the government. Bad reasoning.
Well, that's the reasoning behind basically every war, rebellion, and revolution. So sometimes it's bad and sometimes it's good.
Because I'm telling you, tax season's going. I'm not saying anything. I'm just making disjointed
Don't say
comments.
anything that's going to get you arrested, because then I need to run the rig.
I'm just making disjointed comments, feds that I know listen to this show. You are the only listeners other than Serathis. I know. Don't worry. No interconnected thoughts here.
Anyway, on that bombshell, let's move on.
Alright. We don't have a whole lot of time left. But, for once, I'm actually able to leave and you guys can keep going.
That's true. That's true.
It's true. We could do the email. Is there anything pertinent? And I have not got the email open.
It's mostly about boomer shooters. But it's also got a bunch of stuff about Factorio and Subnautica, which I know nothing about.
That's Fern stuff.
That is my stuff, yeah.
So if you got to run, Fern, we can
dust off the old autism.
If you got to run, Fern, we can put the email on hold and do it next week.
Yeah, probably a good idea to put it on hold.
Especially with Fern's interneting.
Yeah, it's exploding.
All right, so you sound like you need to run, so I guess we should start wrapping up.
I even pre-read the email, like a professional.
I didn't.
And now we're not going to read it.
Why?
I didn't.
Well, because I don't even know any of the games that he talks about, so I went through the email ahead of time, and I just looked up the games on Steam that were on Steam, so I could at least have a picture in my mind of what he's talking about. I don't know, maybe that's uncharacteristic of me.
That is. Indeed. All right, Fern sounds like he needs to run, though, so we should probably start tying it up.
Yeah, I don't know how much more of
I'm
this
going to
nightmare
bow
I can
out
take
now because
anyway.
my internet's going. Yeah, my internet's going critical again, so I'm going to take this opportunity to bow out.
All right.
Whoa.
Well,
I'll see you all next week.
sayonara, Fern.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right. I'm also going to shut the rig down, folks. No closing comments or anything this week. Kind of an abrupt end, but we did what we could with the limited Fern we have. And if me and Vol keep going, you're going to wind up with me dancing naked again. And I
I
think.
don't think I can hold on much longer. I drank too much during the show.
All right. Well,